Show live. Hello, Heavy Culture. Especial sábado, 6 da tarde no Brasil, 5 da tarde Estados Unidos, Portugal Connection, 10 da noite. É com muito prazer que a gente recebe aqui no Heavy Culture Marc Rizzo, Soulfly, Cavalera Conspiracy. Welcome, Marc.
Olá, olá.
Olá. Bem-vindo, Miguel.
Tudo bem, Marc?
Tudo bem, tudo bem.
Cool.
Bem-vindo, Ivan.
Opa,
tudo
boa
bem?
tarde. Boa tarde,
Tudo
Miguel.
certo?
Boa tarde, Jorge. Boa tarde, Marc.
Então, galera, antes de começar um bate-papo com o Marc aqui, a gente vai compartilhar com vocês rapidamente aí rápido mesmo, né? Fast. Alguns sons que a gente está ouvindo aí durante a semana, no final de semana. Eu já começo aqui apresentando Concrete Socks.
Olha, Concrete
Socks, Hardcore, ok. My Precious, More Potatoes from Metal Blade, The Classic Master Classics, and Trouble the Skull, Metal Blade. Essa é a minha dica. Mergulhem nessas maravilhas que vocês não vão se arrepender. Fala, Ivan.
Verdade.
Ha!
Rapidão.
Vamos lá. Rapidão. Nefast.
Oh.
Mega clássico.
Tá de cabeça para baixo, Orgasmo.
Motorhead.
I am the one, Orgasmatron. And Benediction. O ECP, The Darkest
The Season.
Eu preciso desse
Já
disco.
começa clássico pela capa, né?
Maravilhoso, uma das melhores capas do death metal, né? Vai para ti, Miguel.
Ok, vamos a isso. Boa noite a todos, em primeiro lugar. Boa noite ao Marc Rizzo, boa noite Ivan, boa noite Jorge e boa noite àqueles que nos estão a ver e que irão ver no futuro. E vou já de seguida partilhar aquilo que estava a rodar antes de começarmos a live.
Oh!
Eu estava a dizer ao Marc que este é o único trabalho que tenho de Soulfly e isto é um promo do período da rádio, porque a Roadrunner enviava-nos promos em CD, claro, o vinil infelizmente não era o caso, mas mandou-nos muitos promos em CD. Uns anos mais tarde, aqui está ele. Isto já é de
98.
É o 98. 98, precisamente.
É o primeiro álbum.
98. Já tem uns aninhos. Depois tenho aqui umas coisinhas que chegaram, reedições. Estas reedições que valem bem a pena. Deixem-me que vos diga que estão a um preço justo na Heart. E aqui está o disco. E ainda seria pecado não trazer o outro também, que lá está. Ok?
Very good,
se quiserem,
my friend.
Espreitem esta banda finlandesa de thrash metal, que está com preços apetecíveis. Depois, para finalizar, porque sou o último a mostrar, não, o último vai ser o Marc. Tenho aqui este da minha banda preferida de sempre, está no coração e estará sempre. Mas ao que parece não é a única banda que, aliás, não é o único a quem está no coração. Marc, your choices. What have you been listening to?
Let me think. I mean, that's a tough question. I'm always listening to all types of stuff. Honestly, I listen to a lot of old music. I like a lot of the old 80s thrash, stuff like that. But off the top of my head, and since we're talking about Brazil and everything, I've been listening. I just did a guest guitar solo for the new Claustrophobia record. And what I heard from them, I love, man. I really love that new Claustrophobia record. I think it's coming out soon. I had a great time doing a guest solo with those guys, and I really like this new record that they're doing. And also, I always love what Christian does, man. I like that last Christian record a lot. They're awesome too, And then as far as maybe a third record, I mean, dude, I'm always listening to old school Overkill, Slayer. You know, I try to listen to new stuff, but my ear loves the old stuff.
Like our ears are the same. So, Marc,
Yeah.
Welcome to Heavy Culture. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and we hope you are doing well in the States as everyone else around the globe. You know, so the first question we have for you, it's something to do with this crazy times that we are living in. So we have seen that you are quite active on the internet in this period of the coronavirus, many jams and some other stuff you are doing. And we want to know what's your perception now, 6 months later, of the impact of this pandemic for metal, especially metal musicians.
It's a nightmare. It's horrible. It's ruined the touring, business. We're basically off the road. There's no touring. I really can't even leave my state of New Jersey where I live. So I had a solo tour booked for March. That got canceled. Soulfly was supposed to be in Europe for the entire summer. That got canceled, and I don't think Soulfly plans on doing anything till next year. I think. I don't know. I haven't really heard, but I think next year. So it's ruined touring. And for myself, all I've been doing is my at-home live jams on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. But I've been doing this for years anyway. For me, to sit home and play guitar and talk to fans, this is something I've been doing before Corona, So I'm used to doing this. I've always stayed home, played guitar, and put on live concerts where I play for like 1 hour. I play like 10 or 11 songs and play live from home.
So you are quite used to be closed at home, like I am, because I work from home. So it's like you do the same. You work from home every time.
Well, not even from home. I mean, even when I'm on tour, if I'm at a hotel and I have good Wi-Fi, I would do live from the hotel, play live, for fans and hang. So for me, this is nothing new. I've been doing this Facebook Live, Instagram Live, YouTube Live. I've been doing this probably for about 5 years now, 4 or 5 years. I've been doing my solo videos. So, for this pandemic, I was already prepared to just stay home and play guitar, man.
Okay. We know that Max is also doing a lot of lives on Max Tracks. I believe you haven't stopped, composition with any of your projects. What have you been doing while we are living this situation, while not touring?
So I've been working on my new solo record. I'm putting out a from home all acoustic solo record where I'm actually recording it through my phone and sending the tracks to a friend of mine, and he's putting it into his Pro Tools rig. It's kind of funny, but it sounds great. And I'm basically doing that, for the fans to show them, like, this was recorded from my home with my cell phone, very simple, and just playing acoustic guitar right here at home, So I'm excited to get that record out. And then I have my other project called Acoustic Vendetta. And we've been able to do some shows at small restaurants and bars in the state that I live in, New Jersey, outdoors under like a canopy tent. And we've been playing basically every weekend doing Acoustic Vendetta, where we go out and we just play acoustic and we play a lot of classic rock, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, Rolling Stones. But we jam a lot. There's a lot of improvising, a lot of guitar solos. And that's really what I've been doing for concerts, man, and it's been fun. I really enjoy doing that.
And do people know the songs you are playing while doing covers? Usually people know the songs.
Oh yeah. Well, we're doing a lot of, Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. I have a great singer who sings all that stuff perfectly. So it's just a lot of classic rock. And because we're playing a lot of classic rock, we're able to play restaurants, nice restaurants and bars around the area. Because, it's for an older audience that loves that kind of music. and wants to go, get some food, some drinks, and just sit back and listen. But other than that, there's really no other clubs open and concerts. So I decided, hell, we'll just go to restaurants and play classic rock. That's fun for me.
Okay, we in Europe, at least in Portugal, we have started to see some bands go playing, especially in restaurants, or small bars, and not big concerts. Because I believe that there's one metal shows. There was one with Moonspell, and we haven't seen any more gigs at the moment. Only small stuff at restaurants and bars, and that sucks. But at least you guys have a chance to get some money to, if you live with the music or from the music. It's cool.
Well, we're making a couple dollars doing that. I mean, again, this is when I'm off the road from Soulfly, I'm always doing my acoustic gigs on the weekends at bars and restaurants. And doing my live from home feed. So when this whole pandemic hit, for me, I've been doing this for years, just playing little bars and restaurants, playing acoustic guitar, and then doing my live at home stuff. So I was ready to go when this whole thing happened, man. We just started booking, and we're able to still continue to to play live.
Okay. About compositions again. We always wanted to know, being a guitar player from two bands with almost the same guys, so Soulfly and Cavalera Conspiracy, the composition process, doesn't it get a little bit strange, because you are playing with some songs from Soulfly or some other times with Cavalera Conspiracy? Isn't there any confusion sometimes?
Yes. I when I go in to make a record, Soulfly or Cavalera Conspiracy, I really try to make the two different and try to be a different guitar player for each project. I try to make Cavalera Conspiracy more thrashy, more maybe in tune with what Sepultura was doing, back in the day, in the 90s, 80s, thrash. Solos, maybe a little more whammy bar, dive bombs. And then with Soulfly, I try to be a little bit more experimental, a little bit more thrashy with solos, but also I try to use effects more, a little bit more experimental. So I try to keep that in mind when I record.
Okay, joining these guys, these Cavalera brothers, has it in any way changed your way to see things?
I think it's made me very much more take guitar playing much more serious. Obviously, I'm very honored to play with those guys, and I understand the history. I was a very big Sepultura fan, and I when I knew I was going to work with Max and Igor, I knew I had to really practice very, very hard. I had to take it very seriously. I had to learn a lot of those old Sepultura songs. And those Andreas solos, which are very difficult. He's a great guitar player, very big influence on me. So I had to take learning those solos very seriously, try to get them perfectly, because I knew the fans were going to really, be looking at me and listening to every note I play. Okay. So it stepped up my practice regimen and to be a lot more professional and try to really perfect all those Andreas solos the best I can and show the music respect.
Okay, and speaking of doing stuff from Cavalera Conspiracy, the latest album Psychosis from 2017 is something that we believe is devastating. Some tracks like Judas Paria take us back to Sepultura's old death metal phase. What's your perception of this record?
It's a great record. It's another great record. I wish we would have toured it. It would have been fun to play those songs live. But I think all the Cavalera Conspiracy records are excellent. We've been doing the thrash death metal thing since the very first record. I mean, my favorite still is the first Cavalera Conspiracy record. And it's a very thrashy, almost death metal style record. We had a very big influence Joe Duplanteur that played with Gojira, he had a very heavy influence on that record also. If you listen to that first Cavalera Conspiracy record, it has kind of a Gojira vibe with some of the riffs, you know. Joe actually played some guitar on that record too. So being that we got to, you know, to work with Max and Igor and myself, and then to have Joe in there, it added a Gojira vibe, you know. And I love that record, and I love Psychosis. Psychosis, I think, is a very right to the point, direct record. You know, it's definitely got even more of a death metal vibe to it. So it's great. I love all these records we do.
Okay, and talking about being a Sepultura fan, you know that Sepultura was a very important band from Brazil. You know, helping the scene to grow up. And for you, Marc, what's the choose at least 3 records that you find the best for you from Sepultura?
Sure. Beneath the Remains, Arise, and KSAD. Those are my 3 favorite records. That's got some excellent guitar playing on it. It really was, I think, the first time when those records came out, like Beneath the Remains, you know, it was incredible to hear that style of guitar playing with Max's death metal style of vocals, to hear such great guitar riffs, rhythm riffs, and then, you know, Andrea's solos were very cutting edge for the time. You know, it was able to compete with Metallica and Slayer and all the top thrash metal bands. You know, when I first heard Beneath the Remains, man, it was like, holy shit, you know, like guitar playing was so intense.
Okay, and have you followed the rest of the career of Sepultura? You know, although Max and Igor left the band, have you listened to their stuff? Mm-hmm. At least the latest 2 albums?
Sure. Yeah, actually, their newest record. I really, again, you know, I mean, Andreas was a very big influence. His guitar playing, his classical guitar playing, and I've heard that record and some great guitar playing going on. Once again, you know, the classical stuff, the solos, you know, I'm a fan. I mean, I love guitar playing. So, you know, I love all the guys I grew up listening to. Andreas, Dimebag, you know, Yngwie Malmsteen, you know, I'm just a guitar fanatic.
Ok. Jorge, ias fazer uma pergunta?
Marc, do you like Morbid Vision's album?
It's not one of my favorite Sepultura records, personally, but yeah, it's, you know, for the time it was a very obviously cutting edge record. You know, more black metal. It's not really my personal taste, black metal, but I could definitely listen to the record and you know, it was a very brutal record when it came out, especially for the time. It was very, very brutal, heavy. It was up there with all the other first wave of black metal, death metal bands like Possessed and you know, Venom and stuff, which I loved. And Celtic Frost, you know, I love Celtic Frost. So it's cool to see how the band evolved over the years, how it started as like a black metal punk style type of band, and then you know, it got more technical as the years went by, which I think is amazing to see the growth of the band.
Okay. And do you know for instance, any of the albums where, for instance, Jairo, the first guitar player with Max, have you do you know something from Jairo? He's around with a new project called Troops of Doom, which has a vibe of the first Sepultura steps. And do you know, for instance, The Mist, another project from Jairo, where he's in? Do you know any more stuff from Brazil, for, you know, to give us a shape of your knowledge around metal scene in Brazil?
Well, I mean, I've met Jairo. He's a very, very cool dude, you know, very nice person. We've hung out. He came up on stage and we jammed a couple of those old Sepultura songs, you know, in Belo Horizonte, which was a lot of fun. And he's, you know, awesome dude. I think it's cool he's doing that Troops of Doom. I think it's a great idea that he's going out to do that era of Sepultura, and I guess they're doing originals also, right? They have original stuff in that style of music. I think that's great. You know, he's a great dude. He's part of the history of Sepultura, and I think he should get out there and do his project and play. You know, I think that's amazing. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I know Brazil has an incredible history of music that I'm discovering the more I go there. You know, there was even bands like that Sarcófago. Am I saying that right?
Oh,
Right.
Qual é que eu não percebi bem?
I never. They're incredible.
Ah, sarcófago, sim, sim.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, sorry. I had never heard of them in America. I didn't hear them until I went to Brazil, and I met some friends there that told me the history of the band, and I went back to listen, and man, that's some great stuff. Great guitar playing, really heavy.
Did Max or Igor told you about the fights with Sarcófago?
Oh no, I don't know anything about that. No, I didn't know.
Okay, you have to ask them.
That. I never heard. I will. Sorry, I did not know. Yeah, I just heard the music. I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's better if you don't ask anything about it. Okay, they had some disputes in the past.
Before my time.
Yes.
Okay.
Before my time,
Yeah. It's quite old. Let's go back to Soulfly.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of talent. Okay.
No. Please say what you're going to say.
Oh, I was just going to say quick. Lot of talent in Brazil. I'm very impressed with the musicianship in Brazil. All these great bands, Claustrophobia, they're incredible. I love Christian. Those guys are incredible players. I even love a lot of the hardcore bands. Worst, I liked a lot. There's that band Questions I love. So many great bands in Brazil and very talented musicians. I love Kiko Loureiro, man. Incredible guitar player. You know what he's doing in Megadeth right now, his solo stuff. Very big fan of Kiko's playing. A lot of talent in Brazil. I really appreciate how musicians in Brazil really take it very seriously. They're playing guitar, drumming, bass. It's really cool. It's a very schooled country. Musicians are very schooled. And it even goes back to a lot of the classical players. Jobim, right? Is that his name? Jobim, the classical Brazilian bossa nova player. I mean, very, very incredible. Yeah, yes. Incredible guitar playing. Very, very schooled and knowledgeable musicians in Brazil.
And are you drinking some influences from the Brazilian style for your own solo career?
Yeah, I get into a little bit bossa nova style guitar playing. I really enjoy that style. On my solo records, I've done some bossa nova style, rhythms on my records here and there. I've touched upon it. I'm not a professional bossa nova player, but I like to be influenced by it, and I do a lot of acoustic stuff. So I try to incorporate that on my solo records.
Okay, and before we leave this subject, I have to tell you that I don't know if you already heard some Portuguese fado. Since you like acoustic stuff, the Portuguese fado is a very cool place for you to listen to guitar playing. So you should nice. Watch this live once again and then look for the word fado, Portuguese traditional music. Okay, it's a kind of a sad music, but the guitar playing is overwhelming. I have to tell you that it's amazing.
Great.
You must check it.
I have to listen. I will listen.
Yeah. Okay, back to Soulfly now.
Great.
We would like to go back to the time where you joined the band. Just asking you, how did this happen? How did you join Soulfly?
Yeah, it's an incredible story. So I used to be in El Nino. That was like my first band that got a record deal with Roadrunner Records back in 2000. I joined El Nino in like 1997. And then we got a record deal with Roadrunner, and we went on tour. And ironically enough, our very first tour was 2001, opening up for Soulfly. We went on first on the tour, did all of America, And I was in El Nino then for about 2 years, after that. And then 2003, I quit El Nino. And literally the day after I quit, Roadrunner Records, Mike Gitter, the A&R guy, called me and said, hey, it's bad, it's not good you quit El Nino, we're not happy, but would you be interested in joining Soulfly? Because Mikey Doling had just left the band. And I was like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I was a very big, Sepultura fan, Soulfly fan, obviously. So I got the call, and next thing I knew, I was flying out to Arizona and playing some concerts, and then we went right into the studio and made the Prophecy record. And it's been a roller coaster ever since, dude. From 2003 until today, my life just went like on a jet airplane.
Okay, and so the next album in 2005, Dark Ages, there are some changes with the sound of Soulfly, leaning towards more old school and less alternative metal. Can you share with us the memories you have from that time, and why did the sound changed?
Good question. Well, Prophecy, when we went in to make that record, it still was kind of the older sound of Soulfly, but we started getting a little thrashy on Prophecy. A lot of that music was written already, I think. But we started, like, while in the studio recording, we were really starting to get a little bit more thrashy. And our drummer at the time was Joe Nunez, credible drummer, and he was very much into thrash metal, as was I, and Max, obviously. And we would just be in the studio and start talking about, Creator, Sodom, and all these old school thrash metal bands. And it just kind of, because we were talking about it, then we were listening to it, and we were like, man, I always wanted to see Max get back to the thrash, Beneath the Remains, Arise. So we kind of all just through talking and hanging out, we were like a band. We were tight. We were like, let's just kind of go in that direction with the ideas, the riffs. So when we went on the tour after Prophecy for about a year, and we started putting in a lot of old Sepultura songs, we would say to Max, like, hey man, let's do Mass Hypnosis. And he'd be like, do you know it? I'm like, hell yeah, I grew up playing it as a kid. So when Max saw he had musicians in the band now that loved that stuff and could play it, we started doing Mass Hypnosis. We started doing Inner Self, Arise. We started throwing in all those old Sepultura songs that I don't think Max played for a very, very long time. And then when we went in to make Dark Ages, because of that, it influenced the record to go in a more thrashy direction, and with songs like Frontline, Rise Again, Corrosion Creeps. They're all very, very thrashy songs. And I think that kind of, because of this, this interaction in the band, it brought us back into that more thrash metal sound.
By the way, I just remembered that Jairo had something to tell you, but I have to ask in Portuguese. O que é que o Jairo disse para dizer ao Marc? O recado?
É que ele não gostava de fazer o solo da Troops of Doom com uma guitarra de 4 cordas.
Okay, so yeah. Jairo said that joining the band, joining Soulfly or Cavalera Conspiracy, playing live, when he joins, he says that he doesn't like to play the solos with Max's guitar because there aren't the strings are gone for the solos. So he just wanted to say, I believe it's a joke between you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, Max plays the 4th string, so you really can't do any solos. Yeah,
Yeah, we all know that. But there's the thing that he doesn't use the first 3 strings. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. First 2, because he's more 2. Of a rhythm player. He's playing the rhythm.
Yeah, sure.
So he takes off the 2 the E. He takes off the E, the high E, and the B string, and then just plays with the E, the A, and the E, A, and D, and G.
Yes.
Ok. Ivan, vou-te perguntar se tens, como músico, se tens uma pergunta para lhe fazer mais específica, mais técnica, aqui ao Marc.
Pergunta diretamente para ele, é sobre as influências como guitarrista. Vejo que ele tem uma influência só sobre música flamenca também, mas como guitarrista de metal, se ele pode eleger 3 guitarristas.
Okay, Ivan is saying that he notices that you have a lot of flamenco influences and some other influences in the acoustic part, but towards metal, he's asking you to at least say 3 guitar players that have big influence on you.
Okay, off the top of my head, Joe Satriani. I love Joe Satriani. Love Yngwie Malmsteen and Al Di Meola. You know, those are probably my big, big 3 influences. Which influenced me very much with why I got into flamenco was because Al Di Meola. You know, he's a fusion guitar player that combined jazz, rock, and flamenco acoustic influences, and he did those records with Paco de Lucia, which opened up my mind to flamenco and trying to incorporate it in metal. You know, I've always loved that sound of guys like Al Di Meola or Yngwie Malmsteen, the way Yngwie Malmsteen would combine classical, acoustic, nylon string guitar with electric. So that's always been my, you know, on my solo records is to mix all different types of guitar music, jazz, metal, nuevo flamenco. I'm not a flamenco player. I call it, you know, nuevo flamenco. It's just an influence, you know. And I like to mix it all on one record. You know, that's just how I listen to music is all different styles of guitar.
And this can take you to a place more progressive with a new project for you know to put all those styles together and do something different.
That's always what I tried to do with my solo records. You know, for my very first solo record that came out on Shrapnel Records back in 2005, Colossal Myopia, I was trying to mix the acoustic with the metal, but I've been doing that for even before that. When I joined El Nino, I was the guy that kind of brought the acoustic flamenco sounds to El Nino. They weren't doing that before I joined the band, so I was writing a lot of that acoustic nylon string stuff for the band, and that was my influence on El Nino. Was I was bringing that Latin guitar playing into the band. They weren't doing that before I joined, and I did it in El Nino, and then I continued doing it on my solo records, and also with Soulfly. You know, I a lot of that acoustic stuff, you know, I brought to the records.
So I believe that you are a guy that listens a lot to world music, and drinks from every fountain that you find around the world.
If it's got guitar, I'm really, I gotta have guitar. You know, I love guitar music. I love the guitar, and whatever style of music I listen to, it's focused on the guitar. Jazz, flamenco, metal, blues. It's the guitar for me is the focal point. It's what carries the song. You write the song on the guitar, you know. So for me, it's all about guitar. I'm a fanatic for guitar.
Okay, you already have 6 releases solo, and we feel that the technique and the feeling you put into music is quite impressive. We also know, and at least we feel it, that you have something like influence from the master Chuck Schuldiner. Can you check this statement for us?
Yeah, very big influence on me, Chuck. Obviously, I mean, you definitely hear it in my guitar playing. You know, that's the era I grew up in. I started playing guitar in 1986, and I listened to a lot of thrash metal during that time. And then when thrash metal turned into death metal, and bands like Death, Suffocation, Obituary, Deicide, Malevolent Creation, Cannibal Corpse, that was a very big influence on me. That sound, I loved it just as much as I loved Overkill and Slayer. And I was in a lot of death metal bands, like when I was a teenager back in the early 90s. So I really studied, you know, Chuck's playing, Cannibal Corpse's guitar playing. You know, I mean, I was very big fan of that. And I really think I incorporated a lot of that style riffing with Soulfly, with Cavalera Conspiracy. There's a lot of techniques and sounds that are very influenced by Cannibal Corpse, very influenced by Chuck. You know, I grew up on that stuff. I love that music. You know?
So when we put together records from Death and Control Denied, so they are you know, with the voice it makes a big difference. But do you have a side that you would like to go, you know, easier than the other because of the voice? Or are you more into Death or into Control Denied?
Probably Death. You know, I haven't heard enough of Control Denied. I mean, they only put out one record, right? Or I think it was just demos, wasn't it? I don't even know if they put out a whole record. I never owned that record. I heard it. I loved it. Yeah, I loved it. I would have loved to see the direction Chuck was going to go with the melodic stuff. Because personally, I love more melodic vocals. My favorite singers are Bruce Dickinson, you know, Dio. I love that, you know, that old school metal singing. So I would have liked to heard where that Control Denied project would have went, you know, if Chuck was still around. But I also love Death, and I love what Chuck did vocally too. I think it fit the music perfectly. And I will say, it's very difficult to sing and play guitar. So what Chuck was doing, very impressive that he could play those technical riffs and sing them. I mean, that's people got to understand that's a whole. It's one thing to play guitar, but then to sing on top of this at the same time, it takes coordination. Very difficult. So for Chuck to be able to play those songs live, yeah, very difficult for Chuck to do that. You know, I mean, he was a genius. I think Chuck was one of the greatest death metal musicians of all time.
How about this for you, Cynic?
Cynic, hell yeah, very big influence on me. Cynic. When I came out, that was one of my favorite bands, and that was a very big influence on me with trying to incorporate the flamenco sound into heavy metal, because I love the way Cynic combined jazz with death metal. So I was very influenced by that, and I wanted to incorporate the Latin Nuevo flamenco guitar acoustic with heavy metal. And I did it on my first record, Colossal Myopia. The title track, Colossal Myopia, goes from flamenco style rhythms to like death metal riffing. And I did that back in 2003 when that came out, you know. Very influenced by Cynic. Cynic was a big yes.
I have a question. Do you prefer guitar solos or riffs?
Good question. I like both. I like both together. Sometimes I get carried away with the solos, you know, but I like both. And I like a guitar player. I like when there's one guitar player in the band, like Dimebag with Pantera, and I love guitar playing, or Jimi Hendrix, you know, where you can combine rhythm with lead. You know, where, for instance, you could be like, you know, you're playing rhythm, and go to... I like the two mixed together, you know? Very important to me. Yes. A shred. I like it. You mix the two together. That's my favorite sound.
Okay. Any influences from bands like Korn or the European sound? Do you feel attracted to it, the more technical stuff?
Yeah, for me, Carcass. Carcass was the band that really got me into death metal. Because Carcass, in my opinion, was the first death metal band to come out that was death metal. The vocals were death metal. The riffs were all technical, crazy. But they were the first guys to do solos that made sense. That wasn't just all dive bombs and whammy bars. You know, it was melodic. They knew scales, theory. They played a lot of like very melodic guitar solos. That's when I got into death metal. That's when after I heard Carcass, Tools of the Trade, when that came out, then all of a sudden I got into death. Then I got into Obituary. I got into, you know, Suffocation, which is another one of my favorite bands of all time, man. Suffocation, I just they blow my mind away, man. You know.
And can you mention a band that you haven't played with yet and you would like to?
Man, we played with everybody at these festivals, you know. But as far as like maybe me playing with them, I would have loved to join Slayer, man. You know, Slayer is one of my favorite bands, or Overkill. You know, I mean, like when Jeff Hanneman passed away, you know, rest in peace. And Gary got the gig. You know, he's an incredible guitar player. I mean, I would have loved to play with Slayer, man. You know, Slayer is one of my favorite bands of all time, obviously, and I would have loved to maybe done my style of solos live with Slayer. You know, kind of put my little thing on it.
Okay, and how about the way that people react to your last solo career album? Can you tell us more about that?
I think, you know, my solo records, because there's no vocals, you know, they're instrumental. The last four, it kind of goes over people's heads. You know, I think people should check it out. I think if people didn't focus that there was no vocals and just listen to the music, I think people would like it. I think there's a lot of cool things on my solo records that once people buy it and hear it, I think they would really appreciate it. You know, a lot of people I know that didn't know I had solo records because it's very underground. I don't get a lot of promotion for my solo records. You know, there's a lot of people that don't even know about my solo record. But when people do discover it and hear it, they always have very nice things to say. And especially my last record, it's called Rotation. And if you're into, you know, what I did with Soulfly or Cavalera Conspiracy, I really tried to make the instrumental record that was in tune with Soulfly fans and Cavalera Conspiracy fans. It's a lot of heavy riffs. I didn't do a lot of acoustic. There's maybe only 2 acoustic songs, but a lot of heavy riffs, technical riffs, mixed with the guitar solos, you know. And I think fans would really, you know, if you bought all those Cavalera records, you bought those Soulfly records, you have to get my last solo record, Rotation, because I think it fits into the history of the band, you know, and where we're going.
Okay, and so in 2018, you went to studio to record your own solo project and also Soulfly's Ritual, the latest from Soulfly. This work brings fast and heavy songs with strong influences from the old thrash metal scene. Is that what Soulfly fans can expect from now on the next releases?
Well, it's a great record, the new Soulfly. You know, excellent record. My personal favorite Soulfly record is Enslaved. Very thrashy, very death metal record, as is the new record. You know, great record. We've been going in that thrash sound since Dark Ages. You know, it's turned into the Soulfly sound, which is mixing the thrash, old school thrash Sepultura sound with the Soulfly kind of, you know, more groove metal sound. And I just think we get better at it every record. You know, I don't think it's anything new or different by us getting thrashy. But who knows what the next record will sound like? I don't know. I mean, that's Max's direction. You know?
But are you guys writing something while we are in pandemic situation?
I'm writing for my new solo record. I'm writing for my other project, Acoustic Vendetta. So I'm working on a lot of acoustic stuff right now. I'm sure Max is writing at home. You know, he's been home, so I'm sure he's writing for a new Soulfly record. I haven't heard anything, but I'm always ready to make a record. I don't struggle with writing. You know, if you put me in the studio right now today, I could write you a whole record right now. I love to play. And when I practice, I'm always trying to practice every day to be prepared to go into the studio and try to come up with new ideas and new songs, new solos and licks. So I'm always ready to record, always.
Jorge, uma pergunta aqui. Eles terminaram a turnê do álbum Ritual antes da pandemia?
Okay, Ivan is asking if you guys finished the tour from
Ritual
the Ritual tour before the end of or the start of the pandemic.
Well, I think we were basically, we're always on tour with Soulfly, always on tour. But I think we were coming to an end for the touring cycle, I guess, for Ritual. We were going to go to Europe this summer and tour for the record. And I guess, it's probably time to make a new record because Ritual came out about 2 years ago. But I don't know. I have not heard anything about any sort of new Soulfly record. I don't know right now.
Okay, and let's talk about, our countries. So let's talk about Portugal and Brazil. We would like to ask you if you have, any bands that you know and follow from these countries. So maybe you can start from Brazil. You already just said that you recorded some a guitar solo.
Yep.
So
with Claustrophobia, good friends with those guys. I think they're one of the best bands from Brazil is Claustrophobia, Christian. I like that band Worst a lot. There's a whole bunch of bands that I can't remember all the names, but Brazil has such an incredible history of bands that I didn't even know about. I knew Sepultura, and I didn't really know all these other bands. But because I've been going to Brazil now on tour and to just visit vacation, I'm discovering how rich the country is with heavy metal bands.
I would like to ask my fellows over there from Brazil if they have a typical Brazilian question they can make when going to visit the country. Como é que é aí, pessoal do Brasil? O que é que vocês querem perguntar? Se ele já foi até Copacabana?
Qual a percepção do público dos shows, né? Eu assisti Soulfly em São Paulo, né? O Cavalera Conspiracy num festival chamado SWU em São Paulo e assisti o Soulfly também no Dynamo. Eu tive uma percepção assim bastante interessante, né, do Soulfly no Brasil, em outro país. Mas enfim, o que ele acha do público brasileiro no modo geral?
Okay.
Né?
Jay, Jorge has seen you twice. Once in Brazil and another time in Dynamo and Holland. And he knows the way people, feel your music while playing live. But he would like to ask your opinion about the way people interact while you guys are playing in such different places.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we go all over the world, and my favorite places to play, to visit, to hang out is South America, man. I always say it. I could live anywhere in South America, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Chile. I love South America. I love the food. I love the women. Gachinas. It's an amazing place. I'm telling you. Brazil, Colombia, Argentina, it's my favorite place to be in the world. And I think it's the best place for metal. I mean, the fans in Brazil and all over South America are the best in the world. They're very supportive. They're very excited. When you come there for the shows, there's a lot of passion for the music, a lot of love for it, and it's just a great, great time to go. And I love when the show's over, I go out and hang out in the crowd and have a good time with everybody, man. And everybody's just so cool and excited for you to be there and to play for them. It's incredible for me. It's different in other parts of the world, It's great all over the world, but just something about South America, man, the fans are just very, very passionate about the music.
I feel a bit sad because you didn't say something about Portugal, because we also have
I'm sorry, man.
We also have the fame of being quite enthusiastic because it's in our blood.
I agree with that. I agree. Well, you know what? You know what? Honestly, it's. I forgot. I left out. It's a lot. It's all the Latin countries I love to visit, and I consider Portugal. I'm Italian. Italy's incredible. Greece is incredible. Spain. It's all the Latin countries. I don't know why, but we're very passionate people, and all the countries. The Southern Europe, Portugal, Spain, Italy. Even Southern France. It's just something about the Mediterranean. The music, people love it. And I think that carries over to South America too. It's the same passion.
Okay, we have seen, and we still see some information about postponed concerts and festivals around the world. But have you guys have any idea about the next year, about touring? Since Soulfly is getting the vibe to go to the studio, but do you have any idea if you guys are returning to the stages next year or something like that?
I have not been told exactly the schedule, what's going on, but I think probably 2021 next year will be if we ever tour. For myself, I'm going to continue doing my acoustic shows where I live on the weekends. And I think very soon I will go out and do my solo shows where I play with a drummer and a bass player, or I play by myself and play heavy stuff. And just go do weekend shows around America, maybe even come down to Brazil. I plan on doing that as soon as my booking agent that books me tells me it's safe to go. So I'm ready. I want to play.
I believe you are endorsed by EMG. Do you still do some workshops around the world, even with this pandemic?
I'm with EMG pickups, Washburn guitars. I use PV amps. I use positive grid amps. So yeah, it's kind of my solo project. I kind of do clinics for it, but I also play clubs and bars where I do an America lot where I get in a small car and I just go out with a little combo amplifier and I play to a backing track, my iPod with my drums and bass, and I play a lot of covers. I play a lot of my solo stuff. I sing, I play, and it makes it affordable for me to travel and tour. So yeah, I'm hoping to come to, as soon as I get the okay, I'd love to come to Brazil, to Portugal, to Europe and travel and get out there and start playing again, man. I'm hungry to play.
Okay, now we got to this time that we ask for, an advice that you could give to a guy that is starting to play, and imagine a fan of yours that what's the secret? What can you say to these guys?
Practice. It's I think most important is for a musician is to play your instrument, and get better, learn covers, join, do originals, but play in some cover bands and learn how to play old school Metallica, like the records, Slayer, Sepultura, or whatever. Get good at your instrument, and then worry about maybe joining another band. Have a foundation on your instrument to play and practice, and then just play shows, man. Do weekend gigs. Work your day job during the week, and then play on the weekends. That's how I grew up. Where I live in New Jersey, I always work the job during the week, and the weekends go do gigs around America. Drive and play shows, and I'm doing it now again. I'm working a day job right now because of Corona. I had to go get a job. I'm doing construction, and I'm working my ass off during the week, hammering and then on the weekends I'm doing shows at bars and restaurants. So got to play, practice, and play. And write.
Yeah, and most of all, be proud of what you do, and sharing your school. It's very, very nice to hear that you practice a lot, and you say that the most important thing is to practice. Do. This is the most important thing, and never give up, because there will be ups and downs, and yeah. And let me tell you that on the Portuguese people behalf, I say thank you so much. I hope to see you soon on a stage in Portugal, and that we can talk personally about this and other subjects. With being with the Cavalera brothers must be an adventure, and I hope you the best for all you guys. Okay, and thank you so much for the interview. Now I give you Jorge and Ivan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. I really like your music. We really like your music, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Obrigado.
Obrigado. Muito bom, cara. É assim
Obrigado.
a gente. Obrigado.
Não, há uma última pergunta para fazer ao Marc.
A última, eu pensei que era o encerramento.
Não, o encerramento.
A expectativa...
O Ivan tem que lhe dizer alguma coisa, mesmo em português, que eu acho que ele vai perceber. Ivan.
Fala, Ivan. Vai lá, te joguei para ti.
Tens que ligar o micro.
Ele tocando guitarra e fazendo turnê, ele parece o Neil Young dos anos 2000.
So, Ivan is saying that you look like Neil Young, going around with the guitar and singing and playing all around. you remind me of Neil Young.
Me? I don't know. Yeah, I can't. I can't sing. I don't sing like Neil Young. I'm no good at singing.
Okay, we will tell you something in Portuguese that I'm sure you will understand. It's a big tchau e até a próxima. Huh? Do you understand this? Tchau?
No.
Tchau is,
ciao, yeah.
It's good. It's goodbye.
So
yeah, ciao. See.
The best way to say it is in Portuguese. So we say goodbye in Portuguese, and this ciao is an adaptation because in Portuguese is adeus. So ciao came from Italy, I believe so. And
I know.
We tell you we hope to see you next time, and send our best to Cavalera Brothers and all the guys from Soulfly and Cavalera Conspiracy. And I hope to speak with you next time you get something new, and we can talk about it. Okay?
Yes, I hope to come to Portugal soon again, and Brazil. I hope to come soon. I miss those two countries. I want to come back.
Yes. Okay, so agora sim, Jorge, uma despedida a Brasil, mas tem que ser tipo futebol.
Tipo futebol?
Sim.
Adeus!
Tá despedido! Sai fora, cara! Você tem que dizer, fala muito rápido e vai embora.
Thank you, Mark. Vou repetir o que eu falei aquela hora, né? A gente gosta muito, né? Eu gosto de guitarra, né? Fala para ele, Miguel. Melhor aí. Eu gosto muito de guitarra e aprecio muito o trabalho dele e espero que 2021 seja um ano melhor aí para todos os projetos dele, né? Essa é a mensagem final nossa aí.
Now I'm a machine. I'm a translator machine. Okay, so Jorge is saying that he appreciates a lot your work and wishes the best for you for the next years that are to come, and he hopes that he can see you also in Brazil. Ivan?
Yeah,
a mesma coisa, a gente está esperando. Ele é um baita músico, ele é um baita compositor, a gente percebe essa técnica dele apurada, tanto nos álbuns solos deles, que tem uma variação bastante grande, e compor para um cara tipo o Max é uma grande tarefa, né? Porque tem uma pressão muito grande de gravadora para eles comporem álbuns cada vez melhores, né?
Ivan is saying that as a guitar player, he feels that you have quite a technique and feels, your music, being with a big amplitude that you have on your solo career album, and also playing for Max must be very, very interesting and quite demanding. And he feels that you are on the right track for future projects with Max. It must be very important to be working with such a name.
Yes, I'm very lucky. So I take it very seriously, and I make sure I'm prepared for every concert and every record.
Okay,
Jorge, now we say goodbye in Portuguese, okay? Mark, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Obrigado.
Cheers. Obrigado.
Tchau.
Keep
galera,
Obrigado.
strong, my friend.
A gente quer divulgar aí, Miguel. Você já decoraram a agenda aí, que está bastante intensa do Heavy
Claro
Culture?
que não, Jorge. Não sei o que é que vai ser a seguir. Tenho uma agenda chamada Jorge. Jorge, qual é a agenda?
Aí que está o problema. A agenda está falhando.
A agenda falhou para terça.
Falhou para terça. Hein? Quem é?
Eu procurei terça aqui, não achei ninguém, cara.
Que vergonha, bicho. Olha que tem, hein? Pessoal, é o seguinte, procura na agenda do Heavy Culture, que a gente esqueceu aqui.
Eu nem sei a quantas é que andamos hoje. Hoje são quantos? 29.
26. Vai ser 29 de setembro. Deixa eu ver a agenda aqui. Estou procurando rapidamente.
A agenda da Soulfly.
Não, mas para terça-feira que vem, vamos lembrar, estou aqui resgatando aqui a agenda. Eu estou num outro micro aqui.
E estás a espetar uma seca ao Marc.
Vamos liberar o Marc. Marc, thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you soon.
Obrigado,
galera. Muito obrigado.
Cheers, man.
Cheers.
Ok. Muito obrigado.
Galera,
tchau. Cheers.
Muito obrigado.
Tchau.
E nós não sabemos o que é que vai ser na próxima, mas avisamos por aí, não é?
Avisamos. Tudo de bom aí, galera. Abraço.
Tchau.
Grande abraço. Bom fim de semana.